In earlier videos, we discussed why the nonprofit structure is ideal for the introduction of an Alberta stablecoin. That Alberta is the best candidate in North America for a new currency and what that would look like. Hi, I'm Luke at Alberta Digital Reserve and want to thank you for your time during this pitch presentation. ABDC is aimed as a fully reserved digital currency that's pegged to Alberta value. So that means when you buy ABDC with CAD, our organization takes that CAD and, for example, purchase an Alberta provincial bond or an energy stock like Enbridge. And then eventually, when you want to exchange back your ABDC for CAD, those assets and investments get sold off, whereas the interest and the yield helps fund our operations. As much as possible, this will all be displayed on-chain with off-chain custodian attestations in the form of soul-bonded tokens and NFTs. We chose Algorand to build on because of its attributes, its consistency, and its reputation. We're also looking to deploy to Ethereum and Solana pretty soon, although that may take some time, but we are applying to startup and accelerator programs to expand in those ecosystems. We strongly believe in ABDC's potential to be a game changer in the future of the region and see immediate benefits right now as part of the mission is to advance digital citizenship and financial literacy. We reach out to young and old alike, and that's through webinars and going to events at schools. And this is all to guide and help Albertans understand technology, money, and free market economics. If you hold ABDC, you know that it's a homegrown currency, that it's tied to Alberta debt, that it diversifies your savings, and that it can be verified on-chain. This builds digital acumen, it generates Web3 expertise, and creates opportunities in the tech sector for underserved Albertans. The nonprofit charter embeds community-driven principles, and this ensures a framework of accountability and transparency. Okay, this effort builds on Alberta's strengths and long-standing spirit of independence, most recently with forward-looking administration that's been focused on digitalization. That said, demographics, sentiment, economics, and public policy are all aligned to carry this stablecoin forward. Before diving any deeper, I'd like to mention that we're accepting both crypto and fiat donations to finalize our MVP on our website, abdc.land. At the moment, we're actively consulting with economists and conducting polls to arrive at the final formula for ABDC's dollar price. Currently, we envision it having a 50-45 split between CAD and USD. This means that 95% of ABDC's price is anchored in North America's two currencies. The remaining 5% is a weighted score amongst GDP, unemployment, and tax inflows of 50%, 30%, and 20% respectively. This is all normalized into an index, what we call an AGI, an Alberta General Index, which will contribute to ABDC's final price. Right now, under those calculations, the ABDC would be minted at about $1.17 in CAD and about 83 cents in USD. This is just a baseline that we're working from and would be subject to change in the future as we work through all of the implications. To ensure steady, sustainable growth rather than sudden spikes, we're tentatively applying a 3 to 4% moderation factor. This allows for ABDC to have room to appreciate. In essence, the currency is tied to two of North America's stable currencies with a modest component that compounds over time to better reflect and embody Alberta's character and underlying dynamism. With the price agreed, the priority is that the peg remains secure and that tokens are minted at that price. ABDC accomplishes this through a multi-layered smart contract system built for resilience and robustness. The Oracle supplies the price, while interconnected contracts enforce strict parameters for token disbursement, including first in, first out redemption, price bands, slippage protections, and kill switches. The code level enforcement allows the peg to be maintained through a variety of volatile market conditions. Smart contracts also manage the reserves directly, executing automated rebalancing and liquidity adjustments without the need for manual intervention. Oversight is reinforced through open source development, monthly audits, proof of reserve attestations, bug bounties, and DAO voting. Administrative safeguards follow best practices in crypto and cybersecurity, backups, multi-signature approvals, hardware wallets, and a hardened Linux environment with passkeys and YubiKeys. A public dashboard displays on-chain signatures that enables independent verification of the contract activity and reserve balance at all times. Finally, ABDC leverages Algorand's rich ecosystem, battle-tested tools, and applications to maintain the infrastructure that together provide a fully crypto-native foundation for the system. For non-crypto users who want to buy in, what we have is a secured password with the private keys, whereas they can later activate that wallet that has the ABDC tokens in them once there's more integrations available. Although it's not perfect, it does bridge that accessibility gap for non-crypto users. The ABDC reserve portfolio is intentionally structured in tranches to balance immediate liquidity, sustainable yield, and long-term resilience. At the liquid end, 10% is held directly within the contract as a backed pool in USDC, with another 35% positioned in quickly redeemable assets. That could be a USDC in stake position or some of our fiat in money market equivalents. A 10% high risk but liquid segment of the reserve will be dedicated for cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Algorand, which provide a buffer as well as diversification and optional liquidity during volatile market conditions. Midterm investments make up 25% of the reserve. For example, this would be highly rated Alberta corporate debt and other fixed income. They must generate a yield of 3.5% because that is our target, and must expose to the province's finances. Another 17% is in 2-year term investments, with a sizable portion dedicated to NFT structured community projects. So that would be a local project or a local fund that has that's looking to achieve a certain outcome. And from that, we get the legal documents and the NFT to show that it's part of our portfolio. For duration and capital preservation, the remaining 13% is for 5-year treasuries and provincial bonds. This is to increase the yield and provide some stability to the fund. This model of a reserve and structure benchmarks well against comparable models, achieving liquidity as well as a sustainable yield. In practical terms, the portfolio generates a yield of 4.5% annually, and this is enough to account for the stablecoin growth as well as to fund operations once we get to scale. Together, the tranches ensure the reserve is adequate for ABDC circulation and ultimately acts like a layered savings account. Some funds are instantly available, while others are only used in the event that they're absolutely needed. But for the most part, they'll be staying in the fund, and we get the interest and generate income and some revenue from there. For our regulatory outlook, in its current form, ABDC is designed as a transactional token and not an equity. There's no yield or any promised returns. Holders of the token will be granted certain rights and privileges as long as they hold the token, but they can also redeem it at any time through our website. We're definitely looking into secondary markets like Tinyman or even some basic exchanges, but for now it would be all through the contract on our website. Want to let you know as well that we eliminate any discretionary choices, decisions, or actions in investing due to our emphasis on universal access, DAO membership and voting, our transparent on-chain disclosures, as well as most of the decentralized best practices that we put into place. Lastly, this is a sandbox initiative, but we are ready to register with the relevant regulatory authority or regulatory body as soon as it becomes applicable. Fund stewardship at Alberta Digital Reserve is guided by our nonprofit charter, and that every dollar is deployed to the service of the mission. Revenue comes from interest that we generate from the investments that back ABDC in circulation, from fees as well as consulting. and some merchandise and other services. We are also complemented from grants and endowments, of which we're deeply appreciative. Annual expenses are in above of $250,000. However, this is mostly for chiefly smart contracts and Oracle maintenance. And that is combined fully when the project is in full swing, not in its current stage with the launching of the MVP. Administrative costs are kept lean. Advisors and board members are not paid, but are remunerated in as many intangibles as that we can provide. Our organizational structure emphasizes collective governance and discloses that financial decisions remain consistent with the future interest of Albertan communities. ABDC is targeting $25 million market cap by the end of 3 years, and it's going to do that by leveraging 3 integrated pillars: grassroots engagement, institutional credibility, and virality. For the first year, we're shooting for 1 million users, and although that's heavily aspirational, if everything is done right, it becomes a logical outcome. First is grassroots engagement, and we do this by starting with a phase of exclusivity. We're going to reach out to the movers and shakers in the crypto community, as well as key retail investors, giving them access to direct token sales, as well as open up some channels to get ongoing feedback and points of friction to better understand ABDC and the onboarding process. In the beginning, we're going to be trying to make these interactions as simple, meaningful, and rewarding as possible by showing real use cases and leveling up the people that we're involved with. Part of the strategy includes airdrops, podcast appearances, Reddit engagement, as well as numerous news articles, and all of this trying to be our best selves and be authentic should allow us to grow substantially and organically. Second is to gain institutional credibility, and this is done by clearly communicating our regulatory stance. ABDC is a transactional token, can be used as a settlement currency, it's redeemable on demand, has a clear set of transparent protocols. The reserve is visible, and all of this according to best practices in finance and decentralization. The support of institutions will demonstrate that we're able to preserve regional capital and value, and the complementary services that will come along with this could be extensive. To assist and really push this forward, we're looking into alternative ideas like mini documentaries, engaging with local artists, media plugs, and as well as think tank presentations, all to add value and legitimacy. We also want to present Web3 seminars for high school students, do that in person, and some of this content we're going to develop and pair for a curriculum that can be easily shared with other influencers. Third is to expand our regulatory scope and gain more partnerships and payment integrations with governments, First Nations, banks, pensions, and universities, all of who could benefit by learning and holding ABDC. Mentors and advisors are also important as well to help us cultivate and expand on these connections. By executing on these 3 pillars, the grassroots, the institutions, and at the end, big players, ABDC will surpass its goals and be able to perhaps eventually move on to a different form, not in its nonprofit state, but maybe a for-profit or even a different kind of a crypto-backed asset. But in the beginning, I think ABDC is the most straightforward and mutually beneficial. As the vision and planning of ABDC comes together, key individuals who would like to contribute to our operations are encouraged to connect with us. It's a great opportunity remotely to develop your skills, specifically for self-learners. Myself, Luke, as the founder and lead engineer, I have substantial academic background in trading and public policy and peer-to-peer technologies. I'm based out of Edmonton and Puerto Vallarta, and always excited to build new railroads in finance. And now I must present the ask for the funding. There's 2 ways that you can help ABDC. The first is to fund the project directly. As of 2025, we're a pre-seed startup and launching a minimal viable product that's going to be ready in 2026. So we're looking for angel investors and those who want to financially support us, even though we're not going to be able to offer equity. Still, know that we're going to be giving back in as many ways as we can. The second way to help us fund the project is that once we're up and live is to buy ABDC, because simply by holding the token, they're backing the circulation, which helps us in our operations. The tokens do not confer any equity, but they do grant privileges and rights and access to data, more of which we'll expand on future videos. With the live ABDC, you'll be able to convert it back into CAD or USDC at any time, potentially retaining a better foreign exchange value. Thank you very much for watching this formal presentation on our ABDC stablecoin and the infrastructure that we're building out. Know that early supporters will get recognized as the original group who helped make this a reality.